Hey guys, Ashton here. I just wanted to make a follow-up video about my DUI checkpoint video that I made. And from now on, I want to always do a follow-up video like this anytime I have an encounter with law enforcement. That way I can break it down bit by bit, talk about it, and respond to some of the comments and general discussions about the video itself. This one's going to be a bit longer because it's the first one and I want to do a little bit of backstory about what I did and why I'm doing what I'm doing and just my general stance on everything. In this case, I wanted to wait till the interview I was invited to be on the Regular Guy Show on Rock 100.5 to be done, which was today, Monday the 24th. And if you haven't seen that video, you can watch it right here. And if you haven't seen my DUI checkpoint video, you can click right here and watch that. And then you should be pretty caught up. So now I want to talk about why I am doing what I'm doing. It started out when I went to go get my gun license and get my own firearm. And I wanted to make sure I knew all the laws. I wanted to completely be a law-abiding citizen, make sure I was never in the wrong. So I don't want to do anything wrong. I'm a law-abiding citizen. So I went and researched everything. I was watching videos of encounters with cops and I read all the law that I possibly could find. And I was just generally disturbed about what I was seeing. There were just so many people being harassed by the cops and having their rights trampled and just being held at gunpoint for no reason other than walking down the street, and that's just not okay. And as I saw these, I was just getting angry about it. It was really just distasteful, and it made me want to research more laws about more of the rights that I had. And I started researching what happens if a cop just comes up to me on the street or while I'm at a traffic stop. And I realized I have all these rights I never knew I had. I never knew I could say no to a cop. I didn't know I didn't have to talk to a cop. And there's just so much that I know now that most Americans don't know that they have the right of. And knowing that the cops purposely take advantage of that ignorance is also disturbing. So my goal is to make these videos, to talk to you guys, get general discussions going, and just hopefully more people will learn what's going on and learn their rights and join me and others in filming the encounters, and hopefully we can hold everybody accountable. My goal is to get law enforcement used to the general civilian exercising their rights. And I in particular am going to be doing checkpoints, whether it be immigration, DUI, just general roadblocks. If I get pulled over, if I see somebody pulled over and it's safe to do so, I'll pull over and film that encounter. I'll stay back, not interfere at all, just to document and hold both sides accountable. I'll be filing public records requests, filming those, because it seems that when anybody files one, they get harassed and followed and stalked by law enforcement. I want to change that. The biggest thing to me is always being polite and being respectful. I really don't like seeing all the videos of people just cussing out law enforcement, and it's immature, and it's not how I want to go about things. I want to be mature, I want to be calm, polite. I think it's just a better way to go about things, and I will always respect someone until they give me a reason not to. So I don't think it's okay to just, even if it's somebody, a law enforcement officer who is harassing you, just still take the higher road, be respectful. It'll be so much better in the long run. No matter what encounter I have, whether it's a good occurrence or bad occurrence, I want to show it. As much as there are bad instances with law enforcement, I want to show the good instances. I think people should call in and give good praise to those people so we can get them promoted, because we want the good people to get promoted and weed out the bad ones. So I very heavily advocate posting any good interaction with law enforcement and definitely giving that the attention it deserves as well. That's what the camera's for, hold everybody accountable, the good cops, bad cops, and myself. Alright, so now hopefully you have watched my DUI checkpoint video, and optional if you watch the interview between myself and the Regular Guy Show. So now we're going to break down the video a bit. I'm going to talk about kind of what happened. So pulling up to the checkpoint, they were operating on a four-way stop just over a hill. So as you come over the hill, there's a stop sign, and then there they are. There were no signs letting you know that was coming up ahead, so you couldn't turn away. Also, none of the 3 police cars that were there had their lights on. It was just a couple guys standing on each of the sections of the 4-way stop with their little flashlights. I rolled up and I cracked my window down about 5 inches, enough to pass a hand through, pass, if they wanted to give me a ticket, to pass that through and to talk. Audio was perfectly fine. Then within 8 seconds of being stopped, one of the troopers decided to try to open my door pretty hard too, and failed because I had my doors locked. Then the other officer that I was talking to asked for my ID and I gave it to him. And as he walked away, he said under his breath that he'll give it back to me when I roll my window down. After that, the second trooper told me that all they were doing was looking for drunks. But throughout the entire stop, and never once was I asked had I been drinking, where I was coming from, or anything like that. Then they attempted to detain me for almost illegal tires, which, next time I know, if they said they look almost illegal, I usually pull you over. Next time I'll say, well, if they're almost illegal and they're not illegal, then I'd like to continue on my way. But, it was my first time, so I just went with it. Then they performed a vehicle inspection on me, which at the time I didn't know the legalities of. So I denied it once, then went along with it. And then ultimately, at the end, they didn't have anything on me, so then they started to belittle me, saying that I was afraid of the dark, that it's weird for a grown man to be afraid of the dark, they think that I'm scared. They tried really hard to get my emotions up and to get me angry, but all it did was make me laugh that they were trying so hard to get a rise out of me. So from the comments and from the interview on the radio, it seems the biggest point and reason that I'm a douche was because I didn't roll my window down all the way. Reasons I didn't do this are quite lengthy. The first one being, I don't have to roll down my window at all. I have no obligation to talk to the police, and it's just overall safer and better in my interest to keep the window rolled up. By rolling your window down, you open up to them reaching in the car to grab you, to unlock your car. They can now claim that they smell alcohol or the master key to everything. All they have to do is say, I smell pot, and now they can search my vehicle for no reason other than just saying that. If your window's rolled up, they can't say anything. Another comment I get is, well, they don't know if you have any weapons on you, and well, I did. I had my firearm on my right side, I was open carrying, and they either noticed it and didn't care, or they just didn't notice it. Had I actually had to get out of the vehicle, I would have informed them that I have that and how to proceed. But for sitting in my car for no reason, I wasn't stopped for any reason, it was just everybody being stopped. I didn't feel it was something I needed to bring attention to. If there's no attention to it, why bring it there? So I got one YouTube comment here, says from JR Brown 394, just a little puke looking for any excuse to say his rights were violated. Maybe he gets home without being ran over by a DUI driver. Duh. I assume going into any interaction with law enforcement that it's going to be good, that there's no problems, which is quite ignorant of me. I just always try to see the good in people, I guess. In this instance, I saw it was the troopers, and my only experience with troopers was when I got a speeding ticket 3 years ago, and the whole experience between seeing the lights behind me to driving off was less than 5 minutes. It's very short, but in a polite way, very, very professional, very quick. I mean, I had a great experience, so I thought, rolling up and I saw troopers, that I was going to have no problem going through, and they just send me on my way. I'm not looking to get beaten up, I'm not looking to cause a problem. I assume that there's never going to be a problem, and I don't want there to be one. If it reaches the point of there being a lawsuit, then I might have to, but I really don't want that to ever happen because that only hurts the taxpayers. There's no accountability with the law enforcement, it's us, the taxpayers, have to pay the settlement money. So then I feel like that just only hurts us even more. Another comment I get is that I purposely went out to make the cops look bad. I have no influence on how they act. Their actions are their own. If they choose to harass someone, then that is their choice. I can't make them look bad. I'm not talking about the whole thing and saying that they're a-holes or anything like that. It's straight video, you see their actions, you see mine. Back to the window thing again, is most of the comments, and as the lawyer George Stein mentioned, that I just need to roll down their window. So I think next time I do checkpoint, I will roll down my window all the way, and we will see how that goes. I'm going to refuse to answer questions, and I'm going to ask to continue on my way, and hopefully they will just let me do that. If not, I'm predicting they might reach into the window. Gosh, if I just left my car unlocked, who knows what will happen. But next time, I'll keep my window rolled down and we'll see what happens. Overall, my problem with the encounter was they realized quickly that I was not under the influence and that I was just exercising my rights. And they decided to try to get me on any little thing that they possibly could because of that. All they had to do was send me on my way, and they chose not to. That was their decision. They held me against my will, and they tried to find whatever they could to get me on something. And ultimately they couldn't, because I am a law-abiding citizen and I do my best to follow the law the best I can. So now some responses to the interview and I guess some of the general callers that called in. So the first caller, Brian from Kennesaw, said he works with law enforcement, and at first he comes in supporting me, saying that he's all for filming because it holds him accountable, it can also help him out, you know, and I totally agree. That's why I want to film traffic stops. If a civilian just all of a sudden starts attacking the cop, well, now I have that on footage and I can, you know, help and say that it's, you know, no, he actually did attack the cop, it was instigated.
Calls from the general public. This is Brian in Kennesaw, Petitong.
Petitong, gentlemen, good morning.
What's going on, Brian?
I work in law enforcement. Just wanted to make a couple quick comments on the fellow you had in who was filming the checkpoint.
Ashton Woolen, the Woodstock traffic guy.
Right. I'm all for people filming what I do because it protects me as well as protects them. Mm-hmm. They want to roll their window down halfway. As long as I can see them and get what I need, that's fine.
But then he comments and says that about feeling safe around the two armed strangers.
But the one comment that he made that kind of sticks out is being safe with two armed strangers. Mm-hmm. What I think you should remember is when someone's in his house with a gun or bringing violence upon his loved ones, from listening to him, he's not going to do anything to help. And these armed strangers are going to be the one he's going to be happy to see who run to trouble when everybody else runs away.
Well, I would be happy to see them if they just happened upon that instance, but I have to call them first. So that's going to take them 10 minutes to get there. And that's why I and my family members and friends that I have, we carry our own guns. We protect ourselves. Police are responders. You call them after you had an accident. You call them after somebody's tried breaking in. You call them after somebody's been harmed. Then they show up. I mean, it would be great if they were everywhere at once and they could always just stop violence before it happened, but it's not possible. And that's what everybody should learn and carry the tools they need to defend themselves. They can't be everywhere. Then Larry asks Brian a wonderful question of if he sees other law enforcement acting inappropriately, would he do anything? Would he say anything? And this is a big topic for me because everybody says there's more good cops than bad cops. But all these stories coming out of all these bad cops, at least 5 to 10 a day, of them assaulting somebody, feeling somebody up, raping somebody, stealing money, or just stepping on somebody's constitutional rights. Where are the good cops to stop them? Why are there just, you know, there may be 6 people beating a guy to death, but then there's 6 others just standing around letting it happen or joining in. Why aren't they stopping? That's a very, very big question I have to ask. And they may be good cops, but they're not stopping the bad ones. And that's a problem.
Who's in? You don't want to be around armed strangers with questionable goals.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm all for filming, because it keeps everybody honest. And if I'm doing my job like I'm supposed to be, I have nothing to worry about.
What do you think of the DUI checkpoints?
I'm all for them as long as it's within the context of looking for someone who is drinking, because that puts everybody in danger,
right,
or using some type of narcotics that, you know, if you can smell marijuana coming out, but not just to hassle somebody over their tire or, you know, a headlight or something along those lines. If it's for the purpose of what they're out there for, keeping everybody else safe, I'm all for it.
What if you see colleagues who behave like those guys in the video? Do you say anything to them, or you just, you know, let players play?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because it's, I mean, yeah, they had the kind of the good old boys mentality, and yeah, they were kind of making fun of them by being afraid of the dark and whatnot. Something like that, I don't know if I'd really say anything if it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical. But I wouldn't behave like that. And
more so, when there are law enforcement that do come out against them, they get attacked by their brothers in blue. There's a Florida State Trooper that pulled over a Miami PD officer who was going 120 miles an hour in his cruiser vehicle, heading to another job off duty. After doing so, she's received threats, pranks done to her house. Officers from all over the state have access to her information to figure out, who she is, where she lives. Was told by the union leader that what she did was wrong. Another video I'll put in the description below, I'll put 2 videos, is a immigration checkpoint agent, and he says that he respects people's rights as Americans to not answer to questions. He thinks it's awesome that's what they're doing. And then a little bit later, he comes out and says that other agents have been doing things unconstitutionally, and he goes to the media, and then he gets relocated to a lesser job, and his co-workers break into his locker and go through his things. And it's really unfortunate. Overall, Brian from Kennesaw, I really appreciate that you called in, and I'm very glad you said what you said.
His point about videotaping is the cops in this video, if you see them, they are shining their flashlights intentionally into the camera to obscure it.
Yeah, there's no need for that.
They're screwing with them that way.
Yeah.
Then we have another Brian from Canton call in, and he's not on the officer side, but he's also not on my side. Says that I was trying to bully them back, trying to instigate something. I definitely wasn't. I don't want anything to happen. I would like to not get beaten up. I just want to exercise my rights to privacy and continue on.
Brian in Canton, Petitong.
Petitong.
What's going on?
Just calling about that Ashton kid from Woodstock.
The one who made the video of the cop DUI checkpoint.
Yeah, I'm not on the side of the policeman because I don't think they acted properly, but he was just kind of being a little a-hole. Just being difficult, trying to stir up some trouble. I understand trying to make himself feel safe, but, I mean, this isn't L.A. or anything where they've got the Rodney King beatings going on. It's just some backwoods country cops.
Well, let me ask you this. You did say that he was successful in revealing something about those cops, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't it be a good idea? Don't you want somebody revealing how the cops are misbehaving or bullying citizens? If that's how they behave when the cameras are on and they know it, how do they behave when they know there's no camera?
They don't, and I agree with you there, but he was just inversely bullying them back in a sense.
Yeah, it was bully on bully a little bit. You got to
minute.
see that, Larry. He went out with the sole purpose of testing them.
Yeah, but bullying,
Yeah,
that's not
that was
bullying.
all he was trying to do.
That's not bullying. Bullying is when you use your power, whether it's through a weapon or a badge, and force to coerce somebody into doing something that's maybe not in their best interest. That is bullying.
Also, he's being an activist, and that's what activists do. They go out and they create the situation to show you what's going on.
Yeah, there's not equal power. In other words, to have a bully arrangement, there's got to be uneven power. And the cops clearly had uneven power. He was overmatched, yet he still escaped because he was doing nothing illegal. So I think it was very revealing, as you said.
And that's good and well, but I just think there's other ways to go about it that are less...
How would you do it?
Honestly, I wouldn't. I guess, conform in his eyes and just roll down my window, tell him, hey, I'm not doing anything wrong. There's no reason to pull me over for suspicion and let me get on in 30 seconds instead of wasting 5 minutes of my time.
There's got to be a better way to handle it. And how would you handle the task of finding out if the cops are doing their job or not?
How
would you write it down? Would you?
I don't know. That's a question I don't have an answer to, I guess.
Well, the question is basically you've got to
it.
test them. In order to find out if they're doing their job, you have to test them, which is run them through the law and see if they go along with the law or know it.
And Southside Steve chimed in and said that, that I went out with the sole purpose of testing them. And that particular night, yes, I did. Generally, I always have cameras in my car. I always have my dash camera just in case. You never know what's going to happen. But that particular night, yes, I did go and test them. They work for me, they work for us, and I think it's very important that we do test them, that we make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. They are acting within the law, they are respecting the citizens, that they are following their mission statements and upholding the oaths that they took. I think that is very reasonable. If you have anybody working for you, don't you want to test them out, evaluate them, make sure they're doing their job right? Don't we have that in every company? This is our way to do that. We have to physically test them, get them acclimated to exercising our rights. As long as it's done in a polite and respectful manner. I think it is very important that we do that. Then, as Brian from Canton brings up again, and as well as multiple people on social media say that I wasted my time and that I need to get a new hobby. Overall, it took 15 minutes of my day. If you're really missing 15 minutes of your day, holy crap, you are really busy. I had nothing going on that night. I was just relaxing, and I spent 15 minutes to go make sure that the people that work for me are acting in accordance with the law. What's more important than upholding the Constitution? Alright guys, I think that's it for this video. I know it's probably a bit lengthy because there was introduction, talking about my video, as well as an interview. I try to respond to comments. I try not to answer the same question a lot of times. But hopefully I'll be getting some more content soon for you guys. Get out there, get a camera, record what's going on, hold everybody accountable, be polite, be respectful, and just exercise your rights.
Here's another one. Barry in Douglasville, Petitong.
Petitong, guys. Just want to comment about the guy going to the DUI checkpoint. Well, I think these checkpoints equate to what is warrantless searches, and I don't mean to sound like I'm critical of law enforcement. My son's a law enforcement officer, and I'm a fan of law enforcement, but I'm not a fan of just willy-nilly giving up my freedoms.
It seemed in that one they said this officers did state that they were just looking for drunks. And then
right. Well, how does his turn signal is going to tell them whether he's been drinking or not?
Right.
Well, they did that because he was lippy with them.
Right. And they want the window down so that they can say they smelled something, which gives them, in their mind, reasonable cause to go and search the car.
Right. And
I know they have a job to do, they have an important job to do, but taking away our freedoms like that is just not the answer. And if it goes unquestioned, then what's the next step? Government works in little bitty steps.
So you think this guy is a hero for making this video for all of us?
I don't know if I'd call him a hero, but I'm glad he's standing up for his freedoms.
You scared?
No, it took a lot of guts to behave the way that guy did because he could have been arrested for it.
Correct. A lot of balls.
It really did.
You got to admire that.
Yeah, I'll give him that.
You afraid of dark?
Yeah, that's what it is. Get out, boy.
No, come out here. I just want to show you something on your tire. Come outside so we can see you real good.
Oh, you got a bruise on your knee? Where'd you get that? Whack. Yeah, it's a good thing you had the camera up, right? God knows what would have happened.
Are you allergic to volts?